Hail and kill, caller. You're on the air.
Hail and kill, Chris and Neely.
All right, it's Kim from Chicago. So something got your ire this evening?
It started as soon as you guys started talking about politics. It got me going. It started with the voter turnout and then went into the saggy pants, and it goes on from there. So what would you like to start with?
Well, sum it up for us. What are your thoughts? I mean, what's the most burning thought at the very tip of your mind right now? What do you want to blurt out?
Okay, so I'll just run down the list. Okay,
all right,
so
run down the list.
First of all, voter turnout. Well, I am kind of on board with Tim. Totally not cool with low voter turnout. Being me, living in the Chicagoland area for as long as I have, and not being a fan of the party that typically wins, it's very frustrating to be a voter and know that your vote is completely wasted.
Well, you got a Republican governor this time.
I do. Oh my God, I'm so excited. You guys have no idea.
Okay, so bye-bye Pat Quinn. So you're gone.
Yeah, well, but it's like you guys talked about. Now that they're elected, let's see what they actually accomplish.
True.
So moving on from there, when I was hanging out with you and we were talking about getting welfare checks and how do we monitor that and how do we control it, of course, on the drive home, I came up with all these brilliant ideas that I couldn't think of while I was actually sitting there. So it kind of chimes in with what you guys were talking about with how, you kind of adjust your look, your behavior. You do what you have to do to get ahead. And you may not agree with the machine, but you do what you have to do. And I kind of thought, I was thinking about it actually on the drive home that night, and I was like, I got it. Because you asked me, you're like, okay, so how do these women earn their checks? Because the topic of our conversation was these women not taking care of their children, and there being all this truancy and blah, 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 blah. That's fine. If you want me to support you, I'm going to hold you accountable to raising a good child. So I have a job. I have a very good job. I've busted my ass for a very long time for my good job. And in order for me to collect my paycheck, there is a certain checklist of measurable things that I have to not only achieve but maintain in order to get my paycheck. Well, fine. If you're not going to get off your ass and get a job, I'm going to give you a checklist of things that you need to do for your child so that your child grows up to be better than you.
Well, see, this is herein lies the disparity between what you believe as a responsible citizen and what a lot of Democrats believe, that nobody's accountable for anything.
Yeah.
Therein lies the problem, is that you have a system of accountability, and the problem is that they don't want anyone to feel as if they need to be accountable to anyone for anything.
And that's bullshit.
I agree.
I'm sorry. You know what? It's bullshit. I'm not going to be politically correct. It's bullshit. When, it's easy for me to say, like, back in the olden days. Oh, I wasn't back in the olden days, so I really don't fucking know what happened back then. But the way, my generation, born in the 70s, grew up in the 80s, we were raised to believe that, back in my day, I walked uphill to school both ways in 6 feet of snow. But there was accountability and there were consequences. And until there's accountability and consequences, we are just going to live in fucking chaos. And that's the way it's going to be.
Well, nobody's arguing that. I don't hear Chris chiming in, and I certainly don't disagree with what you're saying.
It's all sounds good to me.
Okay, so sorry. Okay, I'm off the political soapbox. You specifically mentioned Sons. What can I do for you for Sons?
What is with that mongoloid son of Jax?
It's gonna kill Jax.
Oh,
that's
Abel?
how the show's ending. I'm mark it down now. Abel kills Jax to end the show.
Well, if you're going to get me started, I'm just going to say to all the listeners now, if you are a fan of Sons and you're not caught up on Sons, get ready for fucking spoilers because I'm not gonna censor myself.
I'm all
at all.
caught up there, Kim. So I watched this week's episode before the show tonight, so I'm all caught up.
Go ahead.
So I'm actually a little Team Chris on this. One of my many outcomes is that Abel absolutely goes clock tower postal and gets a hold of a gun out of one of Gemma's hat boxes and wipes her out, and everybody rejoices.
No,
I'm not convinced that Abel's not the one that didn't kill the bird and scribble the message in crayon and stab the shirt through the. I mean, granted, for his size, that's a lot, but believe me and my friends we've broken it down. We're like, okay, the way the chair's tipped over, he really could have used the chair to climb up on the desk, and if he tried hard enough, he could get the butcher knife that far through the wall. And if you rewind to the beginning of the episode, he was actually coloring with crayons on the bedroom floor. So I can get as deep into this as you want to get.
I'm with her. And Chibs is the rat.
Well, you know what's funny is that's been a huge topic of conversation is who's the rat. And a lot of people think Chibs is the rat because if you go back a few seasons, the way he kind of got booted down the ladder for his alliance with Clay, a lot of people think that he's the prime suspect.
That's not why I think so.
If you go back and actually rewind, if you didn't catch it in this week's episode, if you go back and rewind, when our lovely crooked Sheriff Jerry was meeting with Chibs in the parking lot, when she does the whole thing where she's like, prove your love to me, and they start going at it on the car. If you stop it when they first embrace and you slow it down, she actually drops something down the back of his vest, which...
Right. I was wondering about that. Go ahead.
Yeah, so, popular belief is that she was dropping a bug, and then also it's also been discussed that when she set Gemma off in the office, that when they went at it, she might have set something on her as well. So right now, Sheriff Jerry pretty much looks like she's playing the game and to just get information. So we'll see where that goes. But, people are saying that Tig's the rat, Chibs is the rat. Some people are even saying Rat is the rat. The crazy dumpster girl that has now somehow become very closely embedded to the family as a live-in babysitter. She's under suspicion. Everybody's under suspicion. But at this point, anybody that's watched the show knows that, it's so unfortunate. You watch it every week and you're like, God damn it, Gemma, how do you keep getting away? How do you keep getting away with this? At the end of the day, everybody's pretty much on a path of self-destruction. I'm sure there's going to be somebody that comes out smelling like roses. I have several theories, but I'm still not sure who it is yet. Pretty sure it's not Jax, though. Pretty sure Jax is going down with the ship at this point.
Jax is definitely going down. Here's why I think it's Chibs, first of all. Chibs comes from that old IRA thing, and nobody leaves the IRA. True. And I'm literally watching the previous episodes right now as well, and there's the thing in season 4 where after the whole thing with the babies and whatnot.
Yeah, after they kidnapped Abel and took him the whole Ireland season.
Right. After they killed Jimmy O, and they went and they had the whole thing with where they went to whatever house it was with the IRA, and they had a baby operation right there near Charming, and Jax was all upset about it. Chibs was the one that stepped in and was like, no, let it go. Chibs. Yeah,
and he's kind of been the very kind of silent voice of reason. So, in a normal picture, you look at him as a VP, and you're like, okay, yeah, he's kind of playing the VP role, kind of standing back and being a little consigliere and everything. But yeah, it's almost funny how calm he is through everything. But at the same time of him being calm, he's still kind of pushing Jax through all those hurdles or turnstiles that he needs to go through to get to this horrific ending that we all see coming.
But he's also got the history with the IRA to keep the gun business in play when everything goes apart.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. I mean, we'll see how it plays out, but yeah, no, I agree with you.
And Gemma's going to live through the whole show.
Oh, yeah.
Gemma's going to be the only survivor. That's going to be her.
Yeah, but to me, that is
her penance.
Is justice in a way, though, because to me, for her to die, that's an easy way out for her. I mean, she's
her family
she's
is
the
like
chick
everything.
that I was talking about. She's the chick that thrives on chaos and isn't happy unless everyone around her is in absolute turmoil, and she is the matriarch. So the best, the most fitting, judicious ending for her is to be absolutely, utterly alone with no family and no nothing. That is a much worse punishment and hell than death.
Yeah. Jax dies, Abel dies, Clay died, the other baby dies. No family left, so that she has to suffer through alone.
Exactly, and that is the best. That, you know, at first I wanted her to die, and then I thought about it, and I was like, no, it's way better for her to be some skanky, washed-up bitch in a truck stop somewhere with no family, no ride, no nothing, which was, you know, kind of an episode. Well, when Juice threw out when she was going to try and kill Juice, and that backfired in her face. Like, that was what I saw for Gemma. Like, you're going to spend the rest of your life in that karmic fucking truck stop. Right. And that is where you're going to be with no family, no nothing, because of the choices that you made. And I love it.
Nice. So did you like Bobby this week? Damn.
You know, you had to see it coming. I mean, it almost, to me, it goes back to Opie.
Yeah.
Kurt, at least to me, makes it very obvious when a character in his storyline no longer serves a purpose. And to me, when they got Bobby and they took his eye, and then more so when they took his fingers, I was like, you're finished. You serve no purpose in this storyline anymore. Now, some people would argue and be like, hey, what about Chucky? Chucky's still totally viable, and he's got no fingers.
Yeah, but he's not a rider, though.
Well, yeah, but to me, that to me, when that happened, Bobby no longer served a purpose in the storyline, and I felt that that's where that was going. There was no other logical outcome for that.
Well, the minute
right off my couch,
the minute I knew that was going to be his end is when Pope put his arm around him and said, "Come on, you're almost home." I knew that was going to be the end of it right there.
Well, Jax was an idiot for not doing the same thing. I mean, when that actually happened, I was like, wow. I'm like, Jax, you're an idiot. Why didn't you had that kid standing right there. Why didn't you do the same thing? Shame on you.
Well, look,
I jumped right off the couch. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, holy shit.
Well, it was actually, I mean, it was definitely epic, you know, and I tuned in for the whole Anarchy afterwards, because when I first looked at the show and I saw that it was 2 hours and 15 minutes, I'm like, God damn it, don't they know I'm in the office at like 6:45 in the morning? I'm like, son of a, you know, I was like, okay, this has to be an Anarchy afterwards, which means somebody's going to get wasted, because they haven't done this since the series premiere. So I knew it was going to be a tearjerker.
That was a bummer. That's for damn sure.
Well, Kim, let me ask you, what's left for Kim after the Sons of Anarchy?
Wow, that's tough. I think I'm going to run for office.
Now that the Sons are over, I'm campaigning for office.
Nice. Yeah, exactly. There you go. That's. I just have to figure out my platform for 2016.
What about Saul or whatever that show's going to be? Isn't that next?
Oh, Better Call Saul. Well, you know, I actually do have. You know, I actually that's why I was late to the show tonight, because in my nerdiness, I had to watch the season finale of Doctor Who. So, you know, I can be pretty nerdy at times as well. So I'm such a dichotomy. I shoot guns, I drive muscle cars, I eat red meat, I watch Doctor Who.
Racist.
Yeah. It's all white people stuff.
Yeah. Racist.
I'm so white.
You're so
God damn it.
You're so racist. You ought to feel guilty somehow. All right, Kim, is that it?
That's it. That's all I have to say for now.
All right.
Okay. Hail and kill, guys.
All right, see ya. Hail and kill.
Bye.
All right, there goes Kim.
Bye, Kim.
She's not shy.
No, not really.
Kim is not shy. She'll step right up.
It's a little tough getting her out of her shell there, but once she got going, she was okay.
Yeah, I know. She had the prior loose, man. Prior loose.
Yeah, but so what do you? So you didn't give your opinion. Who you don't think you think? Who do you think is gonna be the rat?
Oh, you know it's really tough because this I got to give it to Kurt for writing such a stellar episode.
Yeah,
is because it is really a lot of twists and turns and could be's and might not be's and so it does keep you guessing. I mean, you really can't sit there and go, oh, this is going to happen next, and I'll bet you this is going to happen next. And
can't. The other one that I've thought about was Wayne. I thought maybe Wayne could possibly be the rat too, because he hates everything about the club at this point. It's not what he felt. He feels at this point, he feels like his whole life was ruined because of the club, because of his allegiance to the club and how it got used up.
Okay.
You don't think so?
It could be. I don't know.
The only thing with Wayne is I don't know that he knows enough.
Yeah, I don't think he does. I think he's kind of left in the dark on a few details.
Yeah.
So, no, I don't think it's Wayne.
Yeah. Good stuff, though. I love it.
Yeah. It's definitely got a lot of twists and turns this season.
Sure does.